Remember, there's only room for one sovereign at a time, not two. So you can't be the same as the sovereign if you're the Prince of Wales.
My father's first words on entering Westminster Abbey yesterday were a pledge of service.
My life is over. That's the explosive phrase exploding across headlines, thumbnails, and TikToks. And it's tied directly to King Charles III. But what's really going on? Is this the dramatic end of his reign? Did the king actually declare William and Catherine as the next monarchs before his time was up? Hold on tight, because what starts as internet gossip might have deeper roots than you'd expect. We're diving into one of the most dramatic royal claims of the year, from whispers of abdication to royal succession, media manipulation, and public perception. This story is tangled in emotion, history, and a whole lot of royal intrigue. But here's the twist. The truth might be less dramatic than the headline, but the real story could be even more powerful. So before you scroll past thinking, this is another royal rumor, stick around. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only know what's real and what's not, you'll see the monarchy in a whole new light. And trust me, it's not just about King Charles. It's about a centuries-old legacy standing at the edge of change. To understand the weight behind this headline, you've got to understand the man behind the crown, King Charles III. For more than 70 years, Charles held the title of Prince of Wales. That's the longest any heir apparent has ever waited in British history. While Queen Elizabeth II reigned with unshakable poise, Charles stood in the shadows, preparing for a role he knew would only come with loss. Then, in September 2022, everything changed. Queen Elizabeth passed away, and Charles finally became king. At 73 years old, he took the throne with a nation still grieving and a world wondering, is he ready? From day one, critics called him a transition monarch, not because he lacked experience, but because eyes were already drifting toward the future. Prince William and Catherine, the next in line, the fresh faces of a modern monarchy. Unlike his mother, Charles didn't have decades ahead of him to shape a legacy. His reign began with pressure, from tradition, from politics, and from public opinion. And while the official line of succession is clear, Charles, then William, then Prince George, the emotional weight behind who should lead has always sparked conversation. That's why this latest claim of Charles supposedly declaring, "My life is over," and handing power to William and Catherine hits so hard. Because whether it's fact, fiction, or somewhere in between, it taps into a deep question. Is King Charles truly the king in spirit, or is the nation already looking past him? So where did this explosive phrase, "My life is over," actually come from? It wasn't an official palace statement. It didn't come from the BBC or Buckingham Palace press briefings. It came from the wild world of the internet, specifically a viral video titled, "My life is over. King Charles is officially done," declares William and Catherine as heirs. Dramatic? Absolutely. Factual? Not so much. These types of headlines are designed to grab your attention, stir emotions, and spark debate, but they're rarely grounded in truth. No credible sources or verified reports have confirmed that King Charles made such a declaration, and yet millions have clicked, watched, and walked away, convinced it really happened. That's the power of a provocative headline. But what makes this particular claim stick is how believable it feels. People are already used to seeing William and Catherine stepping into more active roles, representing the crown at major events, appearing polished and youthful, and embodying the image of a modern monarchy. So when the internet throws out a claim like this, it hits differently. Not because it's true, but because it taps into what many expect might happen. That said, it's time to separate sensationalism from actual succession. And to do that, we need to talk about something the British monarchy rarely addresses directly: abdication. When it comes to the British royal family, abdication isn't just rare, it's almost taboo. The last monarch to step down willingly was King Edward VIII in 1936, and it shook the monarchy to its core. He gave up the throne for love, choosing to marry American divorcee Wallis Simpson rather than remain king. That decision forced a constitutional crisis and nearly tore the country apart. Since then, abdication has been a dirty word in royal circles. Queen Elizabeth II ruled until her final breath, famously saying, "I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service." That wasn't just a promise, it was a code. A monarch serves for life. So, could King Charles actually break that tradition? Technically, yes. There's nothing in law stopping him. He could write a formal abdication letter, have Parliament approve the succession, and William would become king. But in reality, the chances of that happening anytime soon are extremely low. Most royal experts agree. Charles is deeply committed to the role. This is a man who waited more than 7 decades for his moment. Abdicating now would undo everything he's prepared for. Also, the monarchy is built on stability. A second abdication within 100 years would rattle the institution's foundation. It could raise uncomfortable questions about continuity, duty, and even the public's trust in royal leadership. So while rumors swirl, history and precedent say, don't bet on it. But if King Charles did decide to pass the baton, what would that mean for William and Catherine? Prince William and Princess Catherine are already the future of the monarchy, officially and symbolically. William is first in line to the throne. After him, it's his son, Prince George. That's not something King Charles can change, even if he wanted to. The line of succession is established by British law, not royal preference. So what does it really mean when headlines scream that Charles has declared William and Catherine as heirs? In truth, there's no need to declare it. They already are. What's likely happening is more symbolic than legal. Over the past year, Charles has gradually allowed William and Catherine to take on more visible roles. They've represented the crown at major state events, led overseas trips, and stepped into the spotlight during times when the king has taken a step back, especially amid health rumors. To the public, this looks like preparation, a slow handoff, a monarchy subtly shifting toward the younger generation. And there's no denying that William and Catherine are incredibly popular. Their image, stable, relatable, modern, is exactly what many believe the monarchy needs to survive another century. But make no mistake, Charles is still king. And while he might be guiding his son and daughter-in-law into more responsibility, it's more mentorship than monarchy handover. The real story isn't about abdication, it's about evolution. The monarchy is modernizing, but not collapsing. So if there's no official change of power, why do people believe there is? That takes us straight into how powerful and dangerous the media narrative has become. When it comes to the royals, perception often matters more than reality. In today's media world, one viral video title or manipulated thumbnail can spread faster than a palace press release. And with headlines like "King Charles gives up the throne" or "William and Kate take over," it's easy to see how people jump to conclusions. Social media doesn't pause for context. It thrives on speed, outrage, and drama. If something feels true, that's often good enough to share. That's exactly what happened with this story. A YouTube video with a shocking title and dramatic music hits millions of views, and suddenly, forums, TikTok, and tabloids are buzzing with speculation. People start asking, did Charles step down? Is William king now? The palace, as usual, stays quiet. They rarely respond to rumors, which only adds to the mystery. And while most mainstream news avoids spreading false claims, the damage is already done. Once the idea is out there, it sticks, even if it's completely made up. The media doesn't need a formal abdication to create a public one. All it takes is a headline dramatic enough, a clip taken out of context, and a public already primed to believe that Charles is just a placeholder for the real stars, William and Kate. So while Charles still wears the crown, the court of public opinion might be saying something else entirely. Behind the rumors, the viral headlines, and the drama, there's a bigger question. Should King Charles step aside? It's not just gossip. It's a real debate happening among royal watchers, historians, and even everyday citizens. Some believe Charles represents the past, an era defined by tradition, complexity, and controversy. Others say he's more than earned his time and deserves the chance to shape his reign without being constantly overshadowed by his son. Let's break it down. On one hand, Charles has spent his entire life preparing for this role. His passion for climate change, architecture, and spiritual balance may not fit the mold of a traditional king, but they reflect a modern, conscious monarch. Abdicating now would send a message that lifelong dedication means nothing. On the other hand, William and Catherine represent exactly what many people want from the monarchy today: youth, relatability, and a clean public image. They're raising young royals in a more grounded environment, and every appearance they make feels like a PR win. For many, they are the monarchy's best shot at survival. But there's a problem with that logic. The British monarchy isn't built on popularity. It's built on stability, duty, and succession by law, not trend. A sudden exit by Charles could trigger constitutional confusion and public distrust. It could look weak, or worse, like the crown is now a popularity contest. For now, the royal family seems focused on balance. Charles reigns, William and Catherine rise, and the monarchy carefully walks a tightrope between tradition and transformation. The throne isn't changing hands anytime soon, but the feel of the monarchy, that's already shifting. So, did King Charles really say, "My life is over," and declare William and Catherine the new monarchs? There's no official record, no legal abdication, no crown being passed, at least not yet. What we're seeing is a collision of truth and perception. The king is still in charge, but the spotlight has already shifted. The world is watching William and Catherine like they've already taken the throne, and that tells us something powerful about where the monarchy is heading. The modern royal story isn't about shocking announcements, it's about subtle transition. Charles remains king, but he's also guiding the monarchy into its next chapter, one carefully shaped by his son and daughter-in-law. In a world addicted to fast news, viral videos, and royal fan theories, it's easy to fall for flashy headlines. But the reality is quieter, more deliberate, and more complex than a single sentence can capture. So, the next time you see a title screaming that the monarchy has collapsed or the crown has changed hands overnight, take a breath. Look deeper. Because in the world of royalty, the real power lies in what's not said. "My life is over. King Charles is officially done," declares William and Catherine as heirs. It's a headline designed to shock. But behind the drama lies a royal story still unfolding. Quietly, carefully, and on the monarchy's own terms. If you made it this far, you know the truth behind the noise. Charles isn't gone. William and Catherine aren't king and queen. Not yet. But change is coming, and you'll want to be here when it does. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe for more royal truth behind the headlines, and let us know in the comments, what do you think the future of the monarchy looks like?